Well, there are lots of stories about dragons. The Chinese say, when we draw a dragon, we draw his face. We don't know what their bones look like. And when we know people, we know their face. We don't really know their heart. Well, today's guests are real live dragons, and they don't live in China. They live right here off the coast of Australia. After an introduction like that, I'd better not say. Over to Janine.
Someone scared of the ocean once wrote, "If you want to learn to pray, go to sea." But at Perth's underwater world, even non-swimmers can travel safely underwater and encounter over 2,000 fish. How? Through an acrylic tunnel 98 metres long. And if you're game, you can handle a lobster, turtle or Port Jackson shark at the touch pool. One of the most peculiar marine creatures on display at Underwater World is the leafy sea dragon. The leafy sea dragon is named after the legendary Chinese dragon. This protected species is unique to South Australian and Western Australian waters. It's so well camouflaged, you'll find it difficult to see in its natural habitat. It hangs motionless in the water, resembling a piece of drifting seaweed. Sea dragons don't have scales. Instead, their bodies are covered with bony armour, like their relative, the seahorse. The seahorse moves gracefully through the water in an upright position. They grip the seaweed with their prehensile tail to support themselves or hide from predators. The seahorse uses small pectoral fins on its neck to steer and stabilise itself. It moves forwards and backwards with a larger dorsal fin on its back. The fin fans so rapidly, it turns into a blur. The seahorse and sea dragon both have unusual breeding habits. The female passes her eggs to the male, who incubates them in his brood pouch until they hatch. This takes between 2 and 6 weeks, depending on the species. Many of the juvenile sea dragons are eaten by anemones and crabs. Those that reach a maturity will grow up to 45 centimetres. Males maintain small territories. Each morning at dawn, the female travels through the male territories, offering a morning greeting to each member of her male harem by linking with them. Both species use their swivelling eyes to hunt. Since they don't have teeth, they suck up their prey through their snout. They also use their snout to look for food among crevices. Unfortunately, many people have removed sea dragons from their natural habitat and put them in home aquariums. But these fish are difficult to care for and usually die. Underwater World catches very small Mysidosium shrimp from Western Australian kelp beds to feed the sea dragons. Because sea dragons are almost impossible to study in the wild, we know very little about them. Underwater World is studying them carefully, hoping to breed them and return them to the areas from where they were taken. Some people believe that if man could have laid his hands on the sun, moon and stars, they would have disappeared long ago. So it's encouraging that Perth's Underwater World is protecting the leafy sea dragon, ensuring that the whole world will be able to see this uniquely Australian species in the future.
Hi, Steve.
Hi, Steve.
Have you ever heard the word emulsion?
No.
Emulsion.
No.
Do you ever wonder why when you're painting you have to stir the paint before you start?
Yeah.
Because it's an emulsion.
Right.
You see, it's two liquids sort of mixed together.
Okay.
But they separate out if you leave them for a while. So you have to mix them before you start.
Right.
You didn't know that?
I do now.
Hey, see. Have you ever heard oil and water don't mix?
I've heard that.
You've heard pouring oil on troubled waters? You ever realise the waters weren't troubled till the oil was poured on them? Yeah. It's amazing, really. I wondered if it worked with playing cards, so I got 3 red and 3 blue to see if these were kind of like an emulsion.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And also, to make it easier for you to follow, I painted them blue on this side too.
Okay.
All right? So I got 3 of these ones, all right? And also 3 red ones over here. Guess what's on the other side of this?
Red.
Oh, you've seen this before,
I
haven't
have.
you? Yeah, okay. Yeah. These are 3 red ones.
Okay.
All I'm going to do, though, is I'm going to place a blue one, then I'm going to mix it, right, by putting a red one on top of it.
Okay.
And then I'm going to put another blue one, right, and I put another red one on top of that.
Right.
And I'm going to take a blue one and another red one. That's a mixture.
Right.
Now, much like you'd take salad dressing, which is also an emulsion, and you sort of, you know, shake it like this, that mixes them up. But if you leave them standing for a while, watch what happens. See that? You'd think if you separate them in the middle, you get some red, some blue in each one, wouldn't you?
You would.
Yeah, but you don't, you see.
You don't?
No, you get blue on this side, you get red on this side.
Right.
You're not too sure?
I'm
are
not
you?
too sure.
Okay. Well, look, I'll tell you what, look, we'll start again.
Okay.
Okay? Will that be fair?
Yep.
I'm going to take one of the blue ones, place it there. Is that okay?
Okay.
Right, blue? We'll do it face up, it's easy,
Okay.
easy to work.
Right.
Okay, and then we'll take a
A
red
red
one. Should we do it face up?
Yeah.
Is that easier?
Yep.
Okay. And then we'll take a
Blue card.
blue card. Excellent. All right. Then
A red one.
a red one.
Blue.
Then a blue one.
And a red.
And finally a red.
Mm-hmm.
Would you say that's a good mixture?
That's a good mixture.
Okay. We'll shake them up just a little this time. But again, watch what happens if you leave them for a while. See them settling out?
No.
You didn't?
No.
Watch. Look. Isn't that amazing?
Very amazing.
Blue on this side. Blue on the backs. Over this side. And what's these ones? All red. It's called an emulsion. I was wondering, though, how you could make red and blue cards mixed together so no matter what you did, they stayed mixed. So I got some red and blue cards and I actually glued them on a piece of paper. And I glued them in a special way so they're red and blue in both directions. The reason I did that is if I fold the paper, although it looks like there's less, you can see they're still red and blue. So if I cut them in half, you'd still get some red and some blue. Then I thought, well, what would happen if I folded it another way like this? Well, you still get red and blue. See that? Make it neat, red and blue like that.
Yep.
So if you cut that in half, you'd still get red and blue.
Right.
Okay? Then I thought, wait a minute, if I fold it diagonally, well, that's a clever move, isn't it?
Yeah.
Now if I cut it in half, well, hang on a minute, that'd still
You still
get
get
red and blue, wouldn't it? You know? In fact, I couldn't think of a way that if I fold this piece of paper and cut it in half, I wouldn't get red and blue. So I want you to hang on to the red square there,
Right.
and some of the blues in the middle. And I'll take a pair of scissors, which are firmly embedded in my left chest, and if I cut through the paper like this, if you were to guess, how many reds would you say you got there and how many blues? About half and half?
About half and half.
Yeah. But the amazing thing is they're an emulsion. We left it a little bit too long. So on this side we find we get all the reds. And you left me, strangely enough, you left me with the blues. But I won't be blue for very long. I'll be very happy to join you again next time.
Fellows say that the only time a fisherman tells the truth is when he calls another fisherman a liar. Fishermen love tall stories, so today we look into one of history's most famous fishing stories. Let's travel back through time to Israel, the Sea of Galilee, and hear an eyewitness account from fisherman Andrew Bar Jonah. Andrew, thank you. I understand that your story begins one night when you were having some very bad luck.
If that's what you call it. We had a family fishing business. One night, Simon and I and our men rowed our big boat out onto the lake and cast our nets. Our partners, James and John, and their team manned their boat, and they were casting nets too.
And what did you catch?
Cold.
What, no fish?
Our net income was nothing. We cast the nets again and again. All we drew up was weed and driftwood. When the sun rose on the lake, my brother Simon called to James, John, and their dad, "Let's pack up and eat breakfast."
When did this Jesus of Nazareth meet up with you?
A while later, we'd beached the boats, eaten, and were busy cleaning the weed from our nets. Jesus was walking along the shore surrounded by a great crowd of people.
And you joined them?
We didn't have to. They were walking towards us. People crowded Jesus, and Brother Simon started yelling to kids to stay away from the boats. He was ordering people not to tread on the nets when Jesus asked him, "May he use our boat?"
Why? Where did he want to go?
Nowhere. He wanted to use it as a pulpit. We pushed the boat back into the water. Jesus jumped in, dropped the anchor over, and sat down. He signaled the people to sit down on the shore. They did, and he started to teach them.
What did you fishermen do?
Well, we'd just about finished our work. We rolled up the nets, stacked them at the back of the boats, and sat down to listen too.
What did Jesus tell the people?
Let God rule your life. Change your selfish ways. Love God with all you've got. Love others as much as you love yourself. And when he'd finished speaking, he sent the crowd away. We were about to invite him home for lunch when he turned to Simon and told him, "Simon, take your boat out to deep water, and you and your men let down your nets for a catch."
Did he know that you'd already done that and come back empty-handed?
He saw that we had no fish. He saw us cleaning and mending the nets. He saw that we'd packed up for the day.
So what did Simon say?
Well, Simon knew that we don't go fishing in deep water in bright sunlight. It's an unlikely place and time to catch fish. If any other carpenter had told my brother to do this, Simon would have told him to go back to his workbench.
And what did he tell this carpenter to do?
Well, I've got to hand it to him. My brother was firm and respectful. He said to Jesus, "Master, we worked hard all night, and we caught nothing."
How did Jesus answer that?
He just looked at Simon and waited. I could see from Simon's face that there was a tug of war going on in his mind between doubt and faith, between trust and misgiving. Finally, he shrugged and added, "But if you say so, I'll let down my net for a catch." He wasn't so polite to me. He snapped, "You heard the master, grab an oar."
So, you rowed out to deep water in broad daylight.
And we lowered the nets again.
What were you thinking while you worked?
I couldn't believe that we'd catch anything after our unsuccessful night's work. And I couldn't imagine what Simon would say when the nets came up empty.
So, what happened?
Well, suddenly, the net ropes straightened. They tightened, and the boat tilted. And we all knew there was something in the net. We all pulled on the ropes, drawing the net in. As it began to surface, we could see it teeming with fish. I'd never seen so many fish in one net. We knew that we couldn't haul them in.
How did Big Brother react then?
Well, he yelled to me, "There are too many. They'll tear the net. We'll never load them." He signaled James and John to bring their boat over and help us.
How many fish had you caught?
So many that when we dropped them in the hold, we thought we'd sink the boats. Simon went down on his knees before Jesus and said, "Leave me, Lord, for I'm a sinful man."
He didn't really want Jesus to leave.
No. He was realizing Jesus' greatness and his own unworthiness. He was so sorry that he doubted Jesus. Simon was astonished at Jesus' knowledge and power. We all were. His knowledge and power weren't human. Simon knew in his heart that his master was also his Lord.
Well, there's a true fish story which takes some beating. If you want to read the original account, it's in the 5th chapter of the Gospel according to Luke in your Bible.
Chrissy, how do you train a sea lion?
Well, actually, the way that we train the animals is by using a lot of different tools. One thing that people always ask us about is this little clicking or snapping sound that you hear. It's called a clicker, and it's our way to tell the animals that they're doing something correctly. Now, the way that we tell them that they're doing something incorrectly or something they're not supposed to use is just the word no, and that means stop what you're doing, come back, and we'll try and make it easier for you to understand exactly what it is that we want. Now, the second thing that we can train the animals to do, eats a lot, huh?
Sure,
the second thing that we can train, or that we teach the animals to do, is to touch something called a target, and that's this pull that I have right here, and it's just basically an extension of my hand. Now, by doing that, we can lead the animals around wherever it is we want them to go. We can also fade the target from being very long, such as on this pole right here, to something very short, just like my hand. We just fade it to our hand, and that way we can lead the animals around, much like you'd see a dog heeling on your right or your left side, right? That's right. Now, we use a lot of different targets on different parts of the animal's body. For example, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this target here for a second. I can put Balboa on a hand target right here. I can also reach down and tap his flipper and give him a flipper target, just like that. Now, by doing that, we can manipulate or show the animals different things that we want them to do and make it real clear and easy for them to understand once they get the concept of what the target means. You'd like me to show you a couple of things that he can do?
I'd love you to.
Okay, Balboa, why don't you leave Janine with a big smile?
Oh!
There you go. Good look at those choppers. I'm going to bring him all the way over here. That's a boy. Good job, Balboa. You're doing fine. I'm going to go ahead and pop him in the water and have him do a couple of jumps for you. Balboa! Good boy. Got it. Nice job, Balboa. Good job. Take a seat right up there. Good boy. Give yourself a big hand. Good boy. Now, another thing, you'll notice that Balboa is paying real close attention. He's reinforced for that an awful lot. Now, we figure that if they're watching us and they're paying attention to us, it's real easy for them to see the different signals that we give them, and that, again, is going to set them up to do things right. Another thing that we really work on is our relationship with the animal. It takes a long time to build a real positive rapport with the animal so that they know that we're going to take care of them. Now, that's why we can go ahead and do special things like having different people come out on stage with him just like this. Janine, we're going to end things up here today by having Balboa give you a great big wet, juicy sea lion kiss. He's really good at this, and it's something that he loves to do. So, but we're going to have you do a special treat from the San Diego Zoo. Stand right here, turn around, look out at your audience. Don't look at Balboa at the last second, whatever you do.
No.
If you do, you'll catch the kiss right on the lips.
Okay.
And you don't want to do that, does
No.
she? No. Okay. Very good job. You ready? Can I ask?
I'm ready.
Okay. Can I ask him if he's ready?
Are you ready, Balboa?
He's ready. Okay. Here it comes. Lean in a little bit closer. A little closer.
Right. I'm here.
Here comes the kiss.
Oh,
good job. All right. It was kind of a long kiss, wasn't it?
It was a good one.
If a photographer asked you, what is it that you do that a tiger never does, what would you answer? It's something he tells you to do when he's taking your photograph, but he can't tell a deer to do when he's taking its photograph. Have you guessed what the photographer tells us to do? Yes, smile, please. You and I can smile, but I've never heard of a koala smiling, and I've never seen a wombat smile. Now, frowning is hard work. Why? Well, you use 64 of the muscles in your face to make a frown. But it only takes 6 of the muscles in your face to make a smile. And that smile can brighten the day for people. How much is a smile worth? Well, my smile doesn't cost me anything, but it enriches the person to whom I give it. When you meet someone who is sad, lonely, or discouraged, sometimes a smile is one of the most helpful things you can give them. When you find someone who's too tired to smile, give them one of yours. No one needs a smile as much as the person who doesn't have a smile to give. Israel's great King David wrote about God, "I shall praise the Lord for his wondrous help. He's made me smile again, for he is my God." A friend once told me, "When problems come my way, I tell the Lord about them, and I trust the Lord to help me take care of them. Then I smile." When we remember God's blessings, let's thank God for smiling on us. And let's remember the importance of a smile the next time we meet someone who needs one.
Well, that wraps up the rainbow for this week. We hope we've brought a smile to your dial and that you'll be dialing the same spot right here next week. See you then.